Sagittarius, this is your weekly astrology forecast by Born Without Boundaries, Astrology Motivation. In this reading, we're going to review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day throughout the week of May 30th to June 5th of 2023. We're going to start really broad with the big stuff that impacts everybody, and then we'll focus down into the things that specifically Sagittarians should know about. And then I'll break it down into the decans, and a decan is a group of 10 degrees. And every zodiac sign has 3 decans because every zodiac sign consists of 30 degrees total. And breaking it down into 10-degree segments helps us narrow down the aspects that are impacting the natal suns, because in astrology, everything in astrology comes down to geometry, and angles are a basic fundamental aspect of geometry. And aspects are angles. That's what they are. They are the relationship we derive from the angles that are formed to the planetary positions. And in astrology, we go on sort of a 10 degree difference, right? So anything over 10 degrees, it's not the aspect anymore. It's not creating the same energy. So you'll notice that where your natal sun is located in your zodiac sign really does impact how you're being affected. You're not all going to be affected the same way. So it is best for you to know exactly what degree your natal sun sits on, but you don't have to. All you really need to enjoy this video is to know your birth date. But if you want to get your natal chart, it's free and it's easy. Just Google free natal chart. You need your birth date, which you already have, your birth time and your birth location, and they'll spit out a free natal chart for you in a couple of seconds. And it's really easy and it's most accurate. But don't worry, in this video I'm going to be estimating the birth dates that correlate to the different decans. Okay, so let's start really broad, Sagittarius, with the big stuff. Number one, there is a full moon in Sagittarius on June 4th. So this is your native house. There's nothing else in Sagittarius. It's just the sun for the next month is in Gemini. And so a full moon occurs when the sun is in direct opposition, when the moon falls directly opposite to the sun. So, that's you guys. You are directly opposite to Gemini. So it is around the 4th that the sun hits. The sun hits in opposition to that sun. And the moon in Sagittarius is in opposition to the sun. And when the moon is in opposition to the sun, it is also trine to Chiron, which means this full moon in Sagittarius is about being able to release the pain and suffering and sadness, heal it, cure it, so that we can expand. This is freedom through healing, and it's even how our pain and suffering has taught us to appreciate opportunities outside of the norm, outside of the status quo, or, if we've been too confined or too restrained, we'll be so happy after this point to release all that and be able to move on, move forward, and expand and grow ourselves by releasing all that old toxicity, to see new options, even things that we didn't know existed before, maybe even learning how to heal through different cultures, religions, or experiences that we've had in travel, by finally getting out of our norm, of our comfort zone, and instead expanding our mind and knowledge and maybe even opportunities by going outside of our, 50-mile radius that most of us live in, So this is actually a really liberating full moon, especially for you guys. We also have, everything's written down. That's what I'm reading, guys. And as you can tell, I am not in the normal surroundings. I'm actually in a garage right now, in the new home that my son's going to be living in Alaska. I really got the great opportunity to go traveling with him for the past 2 weeks, doing this road trip up to Alaska, and it's just been exceptional. But that's why my background is not the same. I just wanted to let you guys know that. We also have Uranus and Mercury. So Mercury is conjuncting Uranus at about 21 degrees Taurus this week. This is important because we had this combination a couple of weeks ago when Mercury was in retrograde. And now that Mercury is direct, it's coming back around. So something is coming back around, and hopefully this time it will work correctly. But when Mercury conjuncts Uranus, these are major breakthroughs, discoveries, or announcements with regards to technology or undiscovered happenings or occurrences or information that will surprise us. So I'm actually really excited to see what that reveals. We also have Venus. Venus is moving into Leo on the 5th, the very end of this week. Venus in Leo is not the most comfortable energy. It's very demanding. It's very sort of egocentric. It's very much attention oriented. It is very loyal and very adoring, likes to shine spotlight on what it loves, but also likes to be the same. It loves somebody just showering it with attention and affection. And in terms of finances, it's not the most financially responsible position for Venus to be in. So just an FYI with that. We also have, more importantly, Pluto. When Venus moves into Leo, she'll be at 0 degrees Leo. And really by the 1st of this week, by June 1st, she'll be in direct opposition to Pluto. Mars, thankfully, has moved out of opposition with Pluto. That was some contentious energy. But Venus now is coming into opposition with Pluto. It doesn't necessarily mean bad things are going to happen. I don't think bad things happened with Mars in opposition to Pluto, but it's like they happened. And it was intense. And it's not going back. And I think the same thing with Venus and Venus ruled subject matter like finances, financial situations, romantic situations. Not that she rules romance, but she rules what you desire. She rules what you value. And those are going through some major changes, and they're going to be put under a lot of pressure from Pluto. So as she moves into Leo especially, it's going to be a high pressure cooker point for her. High demand or intense demands, and there could be a lot of friction, just an FYI. Let's get into those things that I think specifically Sagittarius should be focused on. Jupiter. We always talk Jupiter when we talk Sagittarius because we have to always. I would recommend that you always keep track of where Jupiter is, because wherever Jupiter is will color where your energy is, or just sort of the big broad strokes of your life. It'll cover where your mentality is. So Jupiter is now in Taurus, and it'll be there for quite some time. Jupiter usually stays for a full year in one sign, but it retrogrades back and forth. So for right now, Jupiter is in Taurus. It'll retrograde back into Aries a little while, and then it'll come back into Taurus. But a total of about a year it'll spend in each sign. Right now, it is still square to Pluto. It is also still square to Mars. Even though Mars and Pluto are no longer in opposition, Jupiter has moved enough for it to stay in a pretty tight square to Mars, and it is still technically in a square with Pluto. That will dissipate by the middle of this month. Why does that matter? By the middle of June, which is almost here. Why does that matter? Because Jupiter square Pluto intensifies everything almost to an idiotic degree, where it doesn't have to be. There's really no need. And yet there it is. And, it's just going to be a little bit of a relief. We're going to feel a little bit of like tension, like the pressure being relieved in a way, and the expectations not being so high, and everybody not being so intense. This has been a really intense past couple of weeks. But we also have Pluto conjunct the North Node, which is lovely energy because it means we're expanding and growing in the direction that we're destined to go. We know we're more interested in our discomfort zone than we are with our comfort zone. And that's actually a really good thing. It's a good thing. And I'm not just talking about where you live, what geography you're located in. but no, just how you live, you know, and how you think, and even your career growing, or different aspects of who you are, different dynamics, especially since Jupiter is in Taurus. Financial growth, financial stability, career stability, growing to a point where you gain that stability and it's important to you. So this is actually some really beautiful energy to build in the things that you want to last, Sagittarius. So let's break this down into decans, shall we? So if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Sagittarius, you are a Sagittarius 1. This would be those Sagittarians born in November. So usually between November 22nd and November, and say maybe, I don't estimate December 1st, you would be Sagittarius 1s. This would be the range of your birthdays. Your natal sun has a long-term aspect. It's sextile to Pluto, which means you're going through dynamic changes, and those changes will create opportunities for you. This is really the time when you spread your wings to fly and you never look back. Long-term also trine to Neptune, which is a beautiful energy to be experiencing because it means connection to God or reconnection to your spiritual psychic self, as well as very creative energy, peaceful and harmonious energy. And then of course, square to Saturn. Square to Saturn just means there's contention with the old way of doing things, which makes sense when you think about the other two things that are working in your favor. There's contention here with the old stuff. You're not going to be released easily from those old contracts, but you're going to do it. And it's going to, I think, firm up your commitment to that forward progression. What's happening this week? Your natal suns are trine to Mars, which gives you a very, almost like a superpower energy. It's almost like drinking an energy drink, but better, because there's just this confidence and momentum that comes from deep inside of you, sort of helping things along. And your confidence in your actions, body confidence, or progress with something physical that you've been going through, all of those things are really healing and beautiful, feel good kind of energy. We also have this week a quincunx to Jupiter, which is your ruling dignitary. Frustration in growth, frustration in moving forward. It doesn't mean you're not. It just means, I think the frustration is there to encourage you and inspire you and say, you know, listen, maybe I'm having problems moving forward, but it's going to firm up my resolve. So I do see that this could be actually a very healing week physically for you, as well as energized. It's a good time to get into your body with that trine to Mars. Sagittarius 2s. Those of you who have a natal sun between 10 and 19 degrees Sagittarius, you are Sagittarius 2s. In terms of birth dates, this translates anywhere from maybe December 1st through December 10th. Yep, absolutely. December 1st could sometimes be Sagittarius 1, I believe, but it just depends. So anywhere between the first 10 days of December especially would be Sagittarius 2s. You are going to be conjunct the full moon on the 5th. So what does that mean? For you especially, this is a very psychic time. It's a very magical time, and it's a very powerful time, and you'll experience a huge emotional release. Let it happen and use it. Use that emotional release to manifest, to welcome in, to let go all the old junk, and then make room for the new stuff, and really, really use it intentionally. Use this energy intentionally. It will be a tremendously emotional, but I also think healing and happy time for you, finally being able to feel maybe what you haven't let yourself feel, and finally being able to be liberated from any kind of enclosures or feeling like you didn't have a right to feel, or didn't have a right to whatever it is, you're or didn't have a right to be curious about something, or you're just allowing yourself to grow. This is a beautiful time when the moon conjuncts your sun in a full moon, to really realize who you are, remember who you are, and let go of all the old up baggage that keeps you from yourself. So it's a blessing. Of course, that also means all week long, your natal suns are in opposition to the sun, which could mean that you are kind of looking yourself in the eye and dealing with ego and egotistical consequences, or just being supercharged with this drive in the direction that you want to go, and seeing where maybe you haven't gotten there. All of those things, it's almost like a mirror on yourself is being held up to you. And then we have that beautiful trine to Chiron. And that's actually long term for you guys, which means there has been a lot of healing, and there will be a lot of healing, and there will continue. You will continue to get the opportunities to heal and really repair, especially any kind of physical ailments or injuries that have been happening to you over the next year. And it's probably been going on for the past couple of years. So God bless you, sending you blessings on that full moon, on the 5th. Well, no, it's on the 4th once again. Okay. But you'll actually start to feel it the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, because anytime around that full moon is going to really impact you. You guys are ground zero with the full moon, but all Sagittariuses 1, 2, and 3 will be feeling it between the 3rd and the 5th, because it will be when the moon conjuncts your sun, and it will be when the moon conjuncts your sun. So that's almost like a new moon. It's really interesting because the moon is conjuncting your sun, and when the moon conjuncts your sun, that's a new moon. So it's almost like this full moon, because the moon is in opposition to the current sun, is like a new moon for you. So it's 100% the time where you will release those toxins and shit will get out of your way so you can start something fresh. Isn't that beautiful? And then we have Sagittarius 3. So Sagittarius 3s, your birthdays are if the sun is in Sagittarius between 20 and 29 degrees, you are Sagittarius 3s, and your natal sun, your birth dates, correlating birthdays, are like the 11th through the 21st of December. You have a quincunx to Venus this week, and she will move. If you're on the very cusp, like the cusp between Sagittarius and Capricorn, you have a trine to Jupiter. Cuspers, you are still trine to Jupiter. Say maybe your birthday is the 20th, the 21st. You are still trine to Jupiter. So this is still a very fortunate time for you. Very lucky, healthy, happy. It's almost like things are kind of balancing out for you without you having to worry about it. Or even if you do worry about it, you will find a harmonious solution for it. But for all of you, your natal suns are quincunx to Venus, and that means there's going to be a lot of upheaval and frustration when it comes to value systems, when it comes to what you value, who you valued, how you feel you're being valued. Could be with relationships or feelings of how you look, any aesthetic challenges you may have this week, as well as financial challenges. As Venus enters Leo, this may become more intense for you. Let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you guys personally, and please subscribe to the channel and help Born Without Boundaries astrology motivation grow. I'm gonna create a tarot card reading for you guys over on Born Without Boundaries. Come on over and join me, and I will hopefully see you guys there. Bye, Sagittarius.